We have many scientists that came from different countries to sit, have a discussion, compare notes with their colleague scientists so that they can come with a way forward on various issues. The first one is how will we improve issues, wildlife, human conflict? How do we enhance biodiversity, conserve and manage by introducing new ways of handling things? How do we as human beings carry ourselves responsibly to ensure that our wildlife, and when I say our wildlife, is from the tiniest insect to the biggest mammal. How do we approach the issues of conservation so that our posterity, our future generations, will still have an environment that that is intact, that the wildlife species will still be thriving. So simply put, it is a good thing. This conference will give scientists across the world a chance to interact and have a discussion and arrive at conclusions that will enable the whole planet to have solutions on the challenges that is faced by it every other time. Secondly, it is the scientists also hone their skills in research methodologies, trying to ensure that the findings in whatever part of the world resonates with the others, to avoid duplications, and to also ensure that there is good network amongst themselves, so that it will also help in bringing in synergy across the planet when it comes to wildlife research, biodiversity, and conservation. That is why we are here, and as government we are keen to ensure that research is resourced, and we are progressively increasing their budget so that we have a solid source of information in terms of data, in terms of other required issues that will enable us make decisions rightly, generate policies that are sound and are aligned to the progression of conservation of our planet. The resources are limited; they are very scarce, and we whatever little we have, we always share to all sectors. And as I say, we are very keen to enhance the budget to research, right from research institutions, universities, and even enhancing the funding at research fund to ensure that even individuals who have good proposals can also be supported. And we have not reached where we are supposed to. I think we are still under 1%. But as the economy improves, this is an area that we want to put in more resources, because it touches each and every part of the economy of the country. And as government, we are keen to ensure that research is resourced, and we are progressively increasing their budget so that we have a solid source of information in terms of data, in terms of other required issues that will enable us make decisions rightly, generate policies that are sound and are aligned to the progression of conservation of our planet.
The last 2 years, from July 2023 to June 2025, we recorded 26,641 incidences of human-wildlife conflict. Among them, we earned 255 lives that we lost. If we quantify that in terms of compensation, that is a whole 1.2 billion that the government has to compensate those families. That money can be put into better use if we enhance coexistence. Within the same period, Chief Guest, 725 people were injured, some extremely critical, and that was snatching the breadwinners from very needy families across the country. Within the same period, ladies and gentlemen, 9,300 farms suffered crop destruction, and that undermined food security that His Excellency the President is telling us we must assure our communities have. Within the same period, we had 5,200 incidences of livestock predations. You've seen it here. And that is destabilizing the pastoral livelihoods. And communities reported over 1,000 cases of property damage and nearly 10,000 direct threats. On the other side of the coin, we lost 911 wildlife. There were mortalities that we recorded, and those were arising from conflict, suppressing our numbers. Yet herein lies the paradox. The very wildlife heritage that sustains us is also at the middle of a growing conservation crisis. You've just seen it. The human population has surged from 8 million at independence in 1963 to 55 million people today. Farms, settlement, and infrastructure now push relentlessly into wildlife vigilance. As a result, the interface between people and wildlife has become increasingly tense. Chief Guest, allow me to dive into the numbers. The numbers are sobering. For example, the last 2 years, from July 2023 to, we are here to talk about coexistence. And the images are clear, you can see them. But the good news is that Kenya is a land rich in biodiversity, but that biodiversity is threatened. From the rolling savannas packed with elephants and lions, to the Rift Valley lakes alive with flamingos, to the coral reefs of the Indian Ocean, to the snow-capped Mount Kenya, our country is a living ark of creation. Over 1,100 bird species, iconic megafauna, and diverse ecosystems make us a global conservation beacon and a fertile ground for cutting-edge wildlife research.
Chief Guest, one of the other things that we have done, we were taxed by the law to bring scientific information and data into one data portal. And through the support of the government, we've been developing a national wildlife data portal. We have a prototype that is now bringing wildlife information into one database. And we envision to complete this by the end of this financial year. Was that we have finalized the second national wildlife census, which was again fully supported by the government. And we have finalized the report, and it will be launched shortly by His Excellency once it is peer-reviewed, because it is at the peer-review stage.
Specific question about creation of a regulator, it is a valid point. It is critical for this country in order to regulate the industry effectively and be able to come up with policies that will support all players and all actors. There is a bill that is already in progress. Public participation has been done. It is towards the end of the stages. We will be submitting it to Cabinet and thereafter to Parliament. And we do hope that in the coming couple of months, the bill will be approved and that issue will have been resolved. What we are seeing here today is one of the undeniable achievements under the leadership of His Excellency the President. If you look at the manifesto under implementation, issues of the wildlife economy, sustainability, bringing up wildlife numbers, all those were promised in the manifesto. This is the second conference. We have the outcomes of the first conference that we are implementing already. And listening to the presentations today, we are actually on course. And we want to thank His Excellency the President for the support and commitment that he has shown in this conservation field, which is also critical to sustainable tourism. wildlife is a very big enabler to the tourism sector. The data-driven decisions, the well-informed decisions will go a long way in promoting the tourism.
I know, Waziri, you supported Masai Mara County when they raised their prices to 200. If you look at it today, countries that have understood this pricing strategy are now getting more resources and can be shared by the government and the community. That's how economics works. So similarly, if we raise, for example, Masai Mara to $500, anybody who comes and says, oh, you have made it. So we need to look at consumptive utilization as an alternative so that people can benefit, so that they can take care of that wildlife. The minutes, they will now say, I have 20 this year, next year I have 40, I can release 10, guided by Monday, the researcher, and the same is strong enough for us to allow it to happen. The circumstances for which President Jomo Kenyatta banned it in 1977 are not appropriate. The second one is payment for ecosystem services. Now, this is a tool which has been used in Kenya. Yes, the entry to the parks was $27. The premier parks, Nakuru, Amboseli, and Masai Mara. We did a research. It's the best wildlife real estate in the world. Now, what we need is not the current tourist who goes there. We need a different one. When the Rwandese see them as a resource like coffee, a resource like tea, a resource like dairy, like any other. So we need to think creatively and say, how will this thing happen? Our economic policy framework must be designed in a way that what benefit does it give to the household? If, for example, there is human-wildlife conflict, say we don't look at the rate of loss, and we need to address it scientifically today and say, what is the incentive? And there are countries which have made sure that there are incentives for people to take care. There used to be hunting, and I hate hunting with a passion, up to 1977. It will always lead to that clash. And since KWS has a strong arm, okay, then it will now annoy the Wananchi and say, what are we benefiting from?